Welcome back to the channel. If you watched the last episode, you know I'm doing a poker challenge where we play in a minimum of 12 poker rooms in 12 days. This year our goal is to play in a minimum of 50 poker rooms. After the last episode, we played in a total of 8, adding on Palm Beach Kennel Club, Seminole Coconut Creek, and Harris Pompano. Just like the last episode of the challenge, I play in a variety of games. Stay tuned to the end to see how much we are up so far this challenge. Just like part 1 and 2, I only could play about 30 minutes to an hour in each room. So far, we played in a total of 6 rooms during this challenge. Today, I start my day off at the Hard Rock Hollywood in Florida. This is where I used to play most of the time before I moved to Tampa. This is another one of my favorite poker rooms. My personal opinion is the games here seem to be a little bit softer than the ones in Tampa. Maybe in the future this will change. I play a few hands of 1-2 no limit before getting called to the 2-2 PLO. I buy in for the max plus our $14 profit from the 1-2 no limit game. The first hand I pick up is out of the small blind. The flop comes King 6-5 rainbow with 1 spade. We lead out for 20. In the early position, hijack, cutoff, all call. The pot's about $100 when the turn comes a 9. This brings in a straight, so I go ahead and check it over to the early position opponent. The early position opponent also checks, and the hijack bets 85. He does this very casually with not much behind, only about 50 bucks. We go ahead and lay it down, and he shows 6-7 for the nuts. I play for about 5 more minutes before getting involved in the next hand. The action picks up on the flop. There's about $35 in the pot. I'm in the cutoff with ace king 10-10. We see a family pot 7 ways. The flop comes 10-6-3 rainbow. The small blind, who has about 500 behind, leads for 15. The big blind folds. The middle position and low jack call. The hijack folds. I decide that I'm going to bump it up to 85. The button folds. The small blind, middle position, and low jack call. We're going to a turn with the pot being about 390. When a deuce rolls off, it checks over to us. We decide to check it back as this card brings in an open-ended straight draw to 4-5. The river is a jack, and when it checks over to us, we decide to go for some thin value. We put out a bet of 125 into 390. When it gets to the middle position player, he decides to pot it to 765. This really puts me in a difficult spot. I go into the tank and I'm just thinking about what combination of hands is he doing this with that we actually lose to. The only hands that I really realistically see that we probably lose to here is somehow like a 2 pair with pocket jacks or a slow played 4-5. Ultimately, I decide to go ahead and make the call. Mainly, I just don't believe our opponent checked the nuts twice on the turn and then again on the river. If somehow he has us beat with pocket jacks, then we just lose. Fortunately for us, he does not. He tables 5-3-3 deuce for bottom set that he decided to turn into a bluff. We embrace the variance and we scoop a nice pot. About 10 minutes later, I head over to the cage to cash out. We were in for 1,014 and we cashed out 1,978 for a profit of 964. There was a tournament series at the Hard Rock as well as a Brad Owen meetup game the next day. I had planned on playing in it, but unfortunately I was not feeling well, so I decided to skip it. They always run great events. I look forward to playing in one of the events coming up this fall. The next stop is the Big Easy in Hallandale Beach. The last time I played here at this casino, it was actually called Mardi Gras. At that time, I definitely did not know anything about PLO, and certainly not anything about 5-card PLO. As soon as I arrive, I'm able to get a seat. I jump into the 2-2 5-card PLO game. I go ahead and buy in for the max, 500. The first hand I get involved in, we are 4-handed. I raise $20 with ace, king, king, queen, 9 with 2 hearts and get 3 callers. The flop comes 5 deuce 9 2 hearts. I c-bet $35. The fun opponent on the button immediately raises to 200. When it folds back to me, I move all in. He calls, we run it once, and I lose to a set of 5s. Nice hand, sir. I definitely feel I overplayed the hand. I should be trying to realize in this spot instead of driving the action. I think I was experiencing a bit of winner's tilt, seeing how well we've been running. I change seats after the hand, reload for 500, and the game finally fills up. The next hand, I start with $500. I'm in the cutoff with king, queen, queen, 10, deuce with 2 diamonds and 2 clubs. We go 5 ways and see a flop of jack, 10, deuce, 2 diamonds and 1 club. I bet $50, the button calls and the hijack calls. The turn is the 4 of clubs, giving us 2 flush draws to go along with our 2 pair and open-ended straight draw. I experience some positive variance and drill the nuts on the river. It's a beautiful 9 of hearts. I sneakily check when all the draws miss, hoping our villain will take a stab with AR for value. He snap shoves, putting me all in, and we snap call. He was extremely surprised with the hand I showed down. The next hand, I chop a double board bomb pot. Because they don't have enough cards, they deal out 2 turns and 2 rivers instead of 2 full boards. After finishing down 134 at the Big Easy, we head to the last room of the day at Daniel Beach Casino. This is another room I've never played at before, due to them not having a 2-5 game. I sit down in the 1-2 no limit game. I was unable to capture all the action from the session as my phone storage continued to fill up. I have since figured out a solution so this doesn't happen again. The first hand I get involved in, I pick up king 8 of diamonds in the cutoff. We raise to $12 over the limp, and the big blind and limper both call. The flop comes 8, 4, 3 with 2 diamonds. I c-bet 15 and only the big blind calls. The turn is the 6 of diamonds. The big blind checks, I put out a bet of $30. After he calls, the river brings the deuce of diamonds. There are now 4 diamonds on the board, and we lose to the ace of diamonds and the 5 of diamonds. Our opponent now leads for 30, and we decide to just make the call. He rolls over 5-5 with the 5 of diamonds. I'm not really sure why he didn't go all in. He just left himself $22 behind. Nice hand, sir. The next hand, I scoop a small double board bomb pot with jack 10 suited. I get involved in another double board bomb pot. I flop top set of aces. I end up getting it all in. I scoop the pot when we hit a gutter ball on the other board. The last hand, I win a decent sized pot with 10-9 of diamonds on a 10-9-8 ace board. I head over to the cage to cash out. I was in for 400 and out for 513 for a profit of $113. So far this challenge, I played in 9 rooms and have managed to book a win in 8 of 9. I'm currently up $3,626 over 9.5 hours, which is an hourly of $381. Because I was under the weather, I stayed an additional day at the Hyatt House. The next day I play in 2 rooms that I've never played in before. Magic City and Casino Miami. I do this before heading to Daytona Beach for a tournament. Unfortunately, these final 3 rooms, I won't be getting into any hand details as all my notes were lost when I switched cloud services. I arrive at Casino Miami around 10:30 a.m. The only game they have running is a 2-4 limit game. I go ahead and jump in and play for about 15 minutes before playing a 2-4 limit mixed game. After playing for about 15 minutes, we decide to cash out and go to the cage. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to wait around for a no limit game. We make a whopping $2. I jump in the car and head over to Magic City. I don't have to wait long before they start a new game. I jump into the 2-2-10 pot limit Omaha game. This was a great game with lots of action. I get involved in a few hands. The first hand I get involved in, we win a small pot with jack 10 6-4. The next hand I see a flop multi-way and decide to check raise an aggressive player and take it down. I win another small pot with 7-7 6-6. I then immediately lose a small pot with queen queen jack 4. It was a quick fun session. I played for about 30 minutes. I was in for 1K and out for 1,068 for a total profit of $68. I check out of the hotel and begin the 4-hour drive to Daytona to play my first ever Moneymaker Tour event. The Moneymaker Tour is Chris Moneymaker's tournament poker series that runs in multiple locations throughout the year. 4.5 hours later, I arrive in Daytona Beach at the Baymount Hotel. The hotel choice was definitely a mistake. This was one of the worst, if not the worst hotel that I've ever stayed at in my entire life. The next morning, I buy into a $500 event. Unfortunately, we busted when we jammed ace king over pocket kings for about 24 big blinds, and we did not catch an ace, and we were out Overall, I had a great time playing in this poker tournament and will definitely be playing in more Money Maker series. During this challenge, I stayed in a total of 4 hotels. I'm going to rank these hotels from worst to first. Baymount definitely takes last place. I would never stay there again. I should have splurged and used the additional points to get more comfortable accommodations. Coming in third place would be the Holiday Inn. It was just okay. I probably wouldn't stay here again if given the choice. Coming in second place would be Holiday Inn Express. I always enjoy my stay with them, no matter the location. First place is one of my favorite hotels. In brands, it would be the Hyatt House. They have a good hot breakfast, modern rooms, great customer service, a nice gym and pool. During the 6 days of the challenge, I have played in a total of 12 poker rooms, 10.5 hours of cash, and 5.5 hours in a tournament. I played a total of 16 hours and finished up $3,196. That's an hourly just under $200. South Florida poker is great. I miss being able to play in multiple rooms regularly. I have considered moving back. If I don't, I definitely will be traveling a lot more to play there. It was fun making this series. The next vlog style content will be heavily focused on hands. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for watching. And remember, embrace the variance in life and in poker.